Okay, so I'm looking at this jazz tune called Alone Together. It's not in the real book, 6th edition, but it's in this Japanese real book, and it's probably in maybe one of the real book um, other editions. So, how do you approach learning a jazz tune, or, what are some good ideas? I don't want to say what's the way, because there's a lot of ways. What are some ideas? Okay, so first and foremost, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, any sharps or any flats, and it looks like there's a B flat. If you don't know how to read music, you go to a different video for that, but assuming you know how to read music a little bit or a lot or whatever. So it's got a B flat, whatever. But I'm also looking at, okay, honestly, of course, is it in 4/4, is it in 3/4? That's a big deal. And then, beats per minute, I'm not really too concerned about that at first, because I'm not going to, if this says 200 beats per minute on this Alone Together song, I'm not going to be putting on a metronome at 200 and trying to read this head or this lead and try to read the notes that fast. So I don't think too much about that. I think, what are the chords? Okay, so it says D minor. So at least you got to know where the A, D note is. So if you don't know that, this isn't the video for you either, but okay, so the first bar is D minor, so okay, the main note is D. Then there's an E minor 7 flat 5, so there's an E, and then A7, so there's an A. So it's basically D 2 3 4 E 2 A 4. Then it does that again. Then it does D. Then it goes A minor 7 flat 5 D G. So you get the point. Can you read it? Can you play on time through the whole tune, just playing the main tonic notes? That being said, then can you go through the tune and just play the 3rd degree of each chord? And then, of course, after all that, the 5th degree, the 7th degree. So in this case, and again, it's not like there's one place to play D on a guitar. There's many places, just play one of them. So let's say you can do that and you can go through all the main tonic notes. So can you just, you could play still the tonic note, then play the 3rd of that every given chord. So like the first bar, you might go D to F4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, because you're playing D, and then the 3rd degree, because the 3rd degree of a minor chord is a flat 3. So I don't want to say spoiler alert, but side note, you got to know the major scale. You got to know that from D, the major scale would be, it would be, and you got to know, say, from B, that the major scale from there is this, So if you don't know what the major scale is, not the video for you either. But anyway, so in the case of D, when you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or the major scale basically. So the 1, 2, 3, the 3rd degree note is flat in a minor chord. So if you went D, then F, that would be the first bar. In this, we're kind of approaching it that way. So the second bar would be E minor 7 flat 5, then A7. So there's your E. Since it's a minor 7 flat 5, it's a minor chord, so it's got a flat 3. And then the A part of that bar is a perfect 3, because it's an A7, so it's got a perfect 3. And again, you're just starting on whatever chord it is. Like if it's an E, yada 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 yada, you think of what's from E, what's the major scale, and then you alter that accordingly, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from E. 1, 2, 3. The 3 is flatted when it's a minor 7 or a minor 7 flat 5 or a minor. That's why basically you'd be like, first bar is D and then flat 3. You kind of got to go quick. quicker because there's the E minor 7 flat 5 and an A7 chord in the same bar. So I guess if there's one chord per bar, you can just do 1, 2, and then play the third degree for the third and fourth beat. And then if there's two different chords in a bar, you can be like, first chord, it's third, second chord, it's third. So I think you get it. So it would be like D, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, A. And then it does the same thing again. So now we're at the fifth bar, D minor. Then it goes A minor 7 flat 5. So that's A, and it's flat third. Then D7, so D, and it's perfect third. So anyway, if this isn't making sense, this probably is not the level for you either. But anyway, so can you play through a tune playing the tonic and the third degree? And then can you just play it through just playing the third degree, just with the tonic in mind, but you're not playing it? So for example, the first bar would just be, because that's the third degree of D, then you got third degree of E, third degree of A, fifth bar, D minor, and then A minor 7, and then G minor, and then C7, then B minor, E7, G minor, C7, F. So then this is just ways to approach a brand new song or to practice a song where you just go through all kinds of possibilities and really get to know the song in and out organically. So now, what about the fifth degrees of each chord? So for the D minor, you could be like 1 and then 5, which is an A note. Because again, from D, if you did the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what makes it the fifth degree. So D, it's 5, then you got E, it's 5, which is flat, and then A, and it's 5, so. So you're really probably either going to have perfect 5s or flat 5s if you're going through all the 5s in a song. There's exceptions, of course, like when there's like a sharp 4 or a sharp 11, if you will. But still, 5s and flat 5s are probably where it's mostly at. Then can you go through the song and just play the 7, which you might ask yourself, well, the first chord is D minor. It's not D minor 7. So yeah, sure, you could kind of play an assumed 7, which would be probably a flat 7. Or you could just play the octave. So like when there's chords, again, I have a Japanese real book here. I don't even know if Alone Together, that song that I'm talking about, I don't even know if it's in a real book, any edition. Surely it's not in the 6th edition. So I don't know if they did write D minor 7 on a different version of the sheet music for the song. But since this just says D minor, I'm just going to play the octave of D, which kind of out of tune. Anyway, so that's the D one. And then for E minor 7 flat 5, that still is the 7. And then for the A7, it's, so you got first bar, then A minor 7 flat 5. Sorry. So I guess if you don't already know this, you should probably know that, like, let's say from A, the octave is there. You skip a fret, you skip a string. Then if you flat that, that's your perfect 7. That's a major 7 away. But if you flat that, that's what your Dom 7 or your 7 is. So if you see A7, it's that. But if you see a major 7 or a triangle and then a 7, that means perfect 7. And again, why is that the 7? Because from A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then flat 7. So anyway, can you play through the whole song playing just the 7? So for D minor, and then E minor 7, A, E minor 7 flat 5, A, D minor, A minor 7 flat 5, D7, G minor, C7, B minor 7, E7, G, C, F. So that kind of thing. So that's just a way to be able to familiarize yourself with the song. And so what I've been getting into recently is like playing the chord and the lead at the same time. So, and again, this is the first time I've been looking at this song, just so you can see how I go about it. But like, and this is a way to go about it. There's not one definitive way, but it's a pretty general good way. So this song has 1 B flat. I'm finger picking, by the way. I'm not necessarily a flamenco guy at all. So if it's, I'm not going for like versatility here. But anyway, so the song's got a B flat. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that's the beginning, and these are the chords when that goes on. So basically, first I'm thinking, okay, the first note is, it just starts with a kind of on the beat 4 of the first bar or the pickup or whatever. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, it goes. So immediately, here's what I'm thinking. Okay, the first note that occurs with a chord in the first bar is an F note, and it's a D minor chord. So I know that here's a D minor inversion. So like, so now what the heck? How did I know that? Because I know that this is a D minor inversion. This is a D minor inversion. By the way, for this particular part of this video, I'm playing the A, D, and G strings. So you got fret 12, 12, 10 is a D minor inversion. 8, 7, 7 is a D minor inversion. And then you got 5, 3, 2 is your first D minor before you can't play anymore off the fret for those 3 strings. So the song starts with a D note, then it starts into the first bar where it goes. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just the first 2 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I know that when it goes, that's over D minor, then it goes, now you're E minor 7 flat 5, which this is an E note, so you can just play your E minor 7 flat 5, which in my case I'm playing starting from the A string, going down A, D, G, and B strings. I'm playing 7, 8, 7, 8. That's how I like to play minor 7 flat 5 chords. That's one way. Now, ignore the next 10 seconds, but the inversions of that would be for an E minor 7 flat 5. Same 4 strings, the 5, 4, 3, and 2 strings. You could play 10, 12, 9, 11. That's an inversion of E minor 7 flat 5. The one I just played, 7, 8, 7, 8. And also you can play 5, 5, 3, 5. And finally you can play 1, 2, open 3. But let's not worry about that. Let's just remember that we got So when it goes do E minor 7 flat 5 A7, this E you can play for the E minor 7 flat 5, but you can also play for it inversion of A7, which is the A, D, G, and B strings. You can play 7, 7, 6, 8. That's an inversion of A minor 7 flat 5. And then again, just ignore this next part, but the other inversions that you could do are, and this is all 5, 4, 3, and 2, those strings. You could play 4, 5, 2, 5. You could play open 2, open 2. You can play the one I just talked about, 7, 7, 6, 8. Or you could play 10, 11, 9, 10 for an A7. So anyway, it's then it goes on over D minor, it goes D, E, F, A. So that's a you're hitting this on the fourth bar, you're hitting an A note, but you're over E minor 7 flat 5. So you're actually playing the fourth degree from E. So you can't necessarily, but this is going to cause me to think. So you could kind of do like a, let's see. Okay, so what it is just play, since this is the fourth bar and it's going E minor 7 flat 5 and then it's going to A7, you can do an A7 just right off the gate, because the inversion of A7 from the D string, basically D, G, B, and then the one E string, you could play 7, 9, 7, 9. I'm missing the one E string, by the way. So you could be like, anyway, the song goes, so that's the first 4 bars. So anyway, the song goes, and that takes you through the 8th bar. So you got 2, 0. Then it repeats it. Oh, okay, now it's different. It goes. So, because on the 6th bar it's A minor 7 flat 5, so I'm still catching that the 6th bar is A note in the melody, but I'm going from the D string to the G to the B to the 1 E. I'm going 7, 8, 8, 8 to do an A minor 7 flat 5 inversion. And again, a lot of side notes in this. Ignore this if you want, but other inversions on the D, G, B, and E strings for an A minor 7 flat 5. There's that one. There's 10, 12, 10, 11. There's 5, 5, 4, 5. And there's 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. Again, I'm missing the 1 E string. But anyway, so you got, so far in the song, through to the 6th bar. And then so the sixth bar has a A minor 7 flat 5 going to a D7. You could go from the A minor 7 flat 5 I was just talking about, and then just you could play from the D, G, B, and E strings. You can play 7, 7, 7, 8. That's a D minor 7. I'm sorry, D7 or D Dom 7, aka D7, aka D Dom, or aka D Dom 7. So now we're in the seventh bar of G minor, and it ends up going. So you could be like, for a D minor 7 or a D minor, you can assume it's a D minor 7. I skip the 5A string and I just play on the 6 E string. I play the D note, the 3rd fret, skip the 5A string, and then I just do 3rd fret all the way down, bar in that for a D minor 7. So you can hit that on the 7th bar. So you're skipping the first beat. You're just kind of playing the chord on the first beat, and then it ends up going. You could be like. So let's see here. And again, I'm thinking out loud here. This is the first time I've messed with this song. You could be like whole chord, but you could go. So you could be like whole chord of D minor, then you could do alone, and then you could go for that note, the A note, you could do kind of like a, on the D, of course, Dogberg, on the D string, G string, and B string, you could play 3, 2, 3, just so it catches that A note, but also maintains G's flat 7 and G's 5. And I don't have the 1 E string, but you could even do the 3rd fret on the 1 E string. So from the D string, G, B, and 1 E strings, you could be like 3, 2, 3, 3. So anyway, it's like, and then you could just bar D, G, B, and E all on the 3rd fret. So, and then just play it E7, C7, C7. So from the A, D, G, B, and 1 E strings, you could play 3, 2, 3, 3, 3. So you could be like. So again, this is a way to approach this song, and playing the chords and the melody together. This video is getting kind of long, but I guess if I was going to super abbreviate, maybe you can try to do the rest yourself, but it's just kind of like again, it's just stream of consciousness, how I'm actually approaching this in real time for the first time going over this song. So it begs the question, do you know you got to know your chord inversions, both triads, which don't have the jazz 7 note in it, and also know your chord inversions for like jazz 7 chords. So like, look at my other videos about triads and inversions, but just as a super brief rundown, like let's say you got C. We're doing a C triad, which is AKA C major triad. On the A, 5A, 4D, and 3 G strings. So you got 3, 2, 0. That's a C. That's from like your cowboy chord C. But you're just playing 3, 2, and 0. That's your C triad. The second inversion or the whatever is a 7, 5, 5, and the other one is 10, 10, 9. So you got to write those down and be able to play them back and forth, you know. Inside and out, you know. Now, if we were talking about, let's say, a G7. Now we're not talking about a triad, tri being 3. We're talking about 4 notes, so a 7, like a jazz 7 chord, those inversions. So the first G7 inversion that's possible at as low as you can on the neck. And this time I'll use the A, D, G, and B strings. The first one would be 2, 3, open 3. You got to write this down and watch this video over and over to probably grasp this, but I also have other videos about it. Then the most recognizable one would be 5, 5, 4, 7. Sorry, 5, 5, 4, 6. Then the next one would be 9. I'm sorry, 8, 7. Sorry, 8, 9, 7. Hold on, sorry. This is the A, D, G, and B strings, the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. You got 8, 9, 7, 8, and then actually the most recognizable one would be 10, 12, 10, 12. For example, for a G7 chord, you got to know the minor 7s, minor major 7s, you know, 7s, all that stuff, all those inversions.